That one passes as well. Okay, so on to bear.
On to bear, on page 69, we have created an over-the-counter private land only rifle bear season for units 4, 5, 14, 214, 441, and 12, 13, 23, 24, and 33 from October 1st to the end of the concurrent 4th rifle season, which is November 27th. Thank you. So, that is the only change we have related to bear, as presented in the issue paper in November. Happy to take questions or public comment.
Any questions, comments, Commissioner Touchton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do we have what would the impact on the bear population be of this new license? I see the private land only part, but I'm just curious what we anticipate the impact would be on the population.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I think I'll defer to our terrestrial section manager, if that's okay with you, Madam Chair, on that question.
Okay, is that Brad? Is that Brad? Come on.
Or to Brian. Brian.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, I don't see Brian.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I might actually, on this one, defer to probably Brad Banulis, our Northwest senior biologist, to take that and maybe some follow-up from Mark if necessary.
Yeah, thank you. Madam Chair, Commissioners, Directors, my name is Brad Banulis. I'm the Northwest Senior Terrestrial Biologist. That's a good question, Commissioner Touchton. We don't necessarily know exactly what kind of harvest we would have from adding in these PLO seasons specifically. With generally in the later seasons from October on, we don't see very high success with those seasons. This would open up an opportunity though, that primarily from October 1 through till the start of the first rifle season, where we do have some private land only cow seasons where hunters would be able to pick up and potentially harvest a bear during that time. Part of this is also to try to help with game damage and conflict harvest that we already have going on in these two DAUs, of which we harvest on average maybe 60 to 70 bears a year through conflict and landowner kills and APHIS kills. So part of the idea is to hopefully allow hunters to maybe take some of those bears as opposed to having to be harvested through conflict.
Any other staff comments? Commissioner Touchton, did you get your question answered?
Oh, yes, I was just going to say thanks for that last part. I do support turning conflict kills into hunter opportunities. So that was a good response.
Okay, Commissioner Haskett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a question for Brad. We don't usually meet the quota we set anyway, do we?
Thank you, Commissioner Haskett. No, I mean, licenses are highly plentiful for a variety of seasons, including, even with our September seasons and especially in those October season, October, November. So no, we don't currently fill quotas. At least, or we don't even sell out licenses for the available license quotas we have.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I support, I would rather have a hunter harvest an animal than to have a conflict issue. So I would make a motion that we accept the staff's proposal.
Okay, a motion made by Commissioner Haskett. Is there a second? Commissioner Schaefer. So we have a motion on the table and a second. I do see Commissioner May's hand up. Commissioner May.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to make a comment that this is, to me, a cause and effect. The cause is the habitat fragmentation that we talk about all the time. Human encroachment into the bears and every other species of wildlife's territory, and we're going to have continual conflicts. There is only a certain set of answers that we can have, and that's either fewer bears or more habitat, because the conflicts are going to continue. the bears that are out there on the landscape have a lower quality of life because of it. So even though that this may be distasteful to some, it's what we're faced with. And we have to make the moral decision to solve these problems. And this is the only way I see that we have to do it. Just my comment. Thank you.
Sarah, would you like to take public comments on this item now?
Yes, we do have public comment. Any other questions, comments from the commission before we do that? Okay, Katie, go ahead.
So we have one person signed up on this item, Wendy Kiefover. So we'll get Wendy unmuted. Wendy, do you have your camera on as well, I think?
Yes, hello.
All right, I'll give you a warning at 15 seconds and time up. Go ahead, Wendy.
Okay, thank you. Good day, Madam Chair Hauser and Commissioners. I'm Wendy Kiefover, Senior Strategist, Native Carnivore Protection with the Humane Society of the United States. I'm a third-generation Coloradoan, and on behalf of our Colorado supporters, I strongly urge you to vote no on the proposed private land-only bear licenses. In 2020, black bear hunters killed nearly 1,600 bears. This is the most black bears in Colorado's modern recorded history. This is a doubling of the number of bears killed in the late 1990s and early 2000s. The trend line is concerning for several bear biologists with whom I have spoken. For many years, CPW has not had nor currently has any ongoing recapture studies of their populations. And using dead bears to project the number of live bears is not sound science. Both the number of bear tags and the number of bears killed in the last few years has gone up dramatically. And without current data on the population, we're concerned with claims that the bear population is doing okay. CPW's goal has been to reduce Colorado's bear population. It basically allows unlimited bag and sets no quotas. Because of bears' biology, we have to manage them carefully. Studies show that black bears can only withstand an annual offtake amount between 4 and 10% of their entire population. That means from hunters, control kills, vehicle collisions. Colorado has some of the best black bear studies conducted anywhere. And I cite these studies when I write bear comments across the nation, yet it appears these studies are not informing Colorado's black bear policy. Hunting bears won't necessarily stop conflicts. There's a huge literature on that. Colorado's bear population has been hammered enough. We need to show restraint as black bears have to contend with dual threats, increasing habitat loss and climate change. Bears have lost food, denning sites, travel, and dispersal corridors. With climate change, we have all the, late season frosts and all other kinds of problems. What the bear biologists tell wildlife managers, you have to do more to prevent the overkill of bears from all sources, including conflicts and hunting. And maintaining peaceful coexistence between bears and humans is a top priority for us. And we welcome any opportunities to work with the commission and CPW on community efforts to increase bear awareness to reduce conflicts. And this means for homeowners, this means for ranchers. These kinds of efforts will help bears. We urge you to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kiefover. It looks like we have either a question or a comment. Commissioner Garcia with Commissioner Touchton on deck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kiefover, thank you for your input. I appreciate it as always. Understand your concerns. I think we're going to have a little bit deeper dive into this whole issue that you're talking about tomorrow when we look at some of our management plans. But I realized that on our reaction button, there's a thumbs up, and I should have hit that when Commissioner May was speaking. Just want to say I agree. Commissioner May said it as well as I could say it better. So thank you, Commissioner May.
Commissioner Touchton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was actually just interested if staff had any response to what, in my mind was one of the more concerning things that Ms. Kiefover mentioned, which is that we're doing potential damage to our bear population. I wanted to see if staff could respond to that, concern that we don't know enough about the population to manage it with over-the-counter licenses.
Brian, are you gonna take that one? Okay.
Yeah, so thanks for the question, Commissioner Tutchin. I might actually invite Mark Vieira, our statewide coordinator, up to kind of talk a little bit about maybe some of the, we do have bear management plans in place for this. And then if we want to kind of, so I'll defer to Mark on that for how we look at bear population statewide. And then if I need to follow up, I can do that.
Yeah, thank you. Madam Chair, Commissioners, Director, Mark Vieira with Colorado Parks and Wildlife. I'm the statewide carnivore and fur bear program manager, and appreciate the opportunity to answer this question, Commissioner Touchton. I shared much of this information with Ms. Keefe over email last week relative to a 6-year project that we did in Colorado across 9 different bear habitat types. This would be different bear densities, different levels of harvest from 2009 to 2015. We employed a hair snag. This is a non-invasive sort of genetic method, mark recapture method to estimate bear density in 9 different sites across Colorado. Pretty robust, 6-year, covered a lot of the state. And as we've updated plans, we've used those black bear densities in estimation of bear population sizes relative to what off-take rates would be. So we do have that type of data that's collected in Colorado. As you all are aware, or likely are aware, we're currently doing density estimates with mountain lions. We did an exciting pine marten density estimate study. We've got a lot of wolf work coming up. So it's not necessarily a project that we can do every year, year in, year out, but I want to make sure you're aware of that data being collected. Additionally, annually, we're assessing a whole bunch of biological metrics or parameters that we obtain through our mandatory check process. And that's all black bears that die in Colorado that we're aware of. So we're collecting data from roadkills, from removal animals, and the large proportion of hunter harvested animals as well. There are indices of composition, a proportion of adult males and females in harvest that can give you, and this is published scientific studies, can give you information on the population trajectory. So we're using that in conjunction with the density work we've done and additional metrics. Sometimes it could be incidents, could be game damage that are integral in the specific bear management plan to assess how that particular bear population around the state is doing. To answer sort of the bigger question, Commissioner Hudson, no, I do not believe our bear population in Colorado are threatened or in general decline. We do have some bear management plans, including the 2 that we're speaking about with this issue paper, that have objectives of decreasing the bear population. And that's sort of a conversation that we hold as part of those bear management plans, as part of those 10-year plans and those discussions. So these recommendations of this issue paper for this licensing is in keeping with the objectives of those plans. Sorry for the long-winded answer. Hopefully that helped.
Mr. Touchton.
Real quick, thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry for just interjecting. Are the studies that Ms. Keefe oversighted said we needed to keep total offtake between 4 and 10% to keep a stable population? And are we doing that?
I would take exception, or I guess I would have a different perspective on what a sustainable offtake rate for black bears is. Brown bears or grizzly bears, it can be lower through the biology of those animals. But I would actually cite work that is more in the 10 to 12% offtake range for black bears for stable populations. And I would say that certainly in populations, bear management plans that are written for stable bear populations, we are keeping within that. And honestly, in some populations where we're attempting reductions per the plan, we're not often able, as Brad Daniel said earlier, we're not able to achieve some of those offtake rates, even under our current licensing scenario.
Commissioner Touchstone, okay, you've gone off. You're back on mute. So we do have a motion and a second on the table. Any other questions, comments on this item? Commissioner May?
Oh, sorry, Chair. I was just going to say that's it in terms of public comments. If we're done
Okay.
with Keep Over, then thank you.
We are. Thank you, Wendy. Commissioner May?
And the only comment I would put on is that I suppose everybody remembers, and I defer to Mark, Brian, and Brad on this, but I think last year in front of this commission, we had a game damage claim on a flock of sheep. And in a several month period, there were 27 bears that had to be taken out because of that game damage claim. And what we're faced with the commission is this dilemma. We have to be either proactive or reactive. I think we're being proactive by doing this. If we don't do this, we are forced into being reactive when we have these claims that it does the bears no good, it does people no good. So I think that's where we're at with this issue. I just wanted to throw that anecdotal evidence about the big game damage claim we had a year ago and how many bears were impacted by that. Not to mention the loss of livestock.
Okay. Anything else on this item? Okay. Motion on the table and a second.
Sorry.
Commissioner
Chairman,
Adams.
Do you mind just repeating the motion before we vote? Because I hear the motion like 5 minutes ago and
Yep.
then there's all this comment and so it's really hard for me to orient. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner, I don't even remember who made the motion now. It's Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Haskett made the motion. Would you repeat your motion, please?
Yes, my motion was just to approve staff's recommendation on, I have to look at the number here.
It's not a number,
What
really.
the-
It's a bullet. It's on the bear item. Yep.
To approve staff's recommendation on bears.
Great. I think Commissioner Phillips was the second, if I'm not mistaken. Commissioner Garcia.
I think it's just to clarify, it's creating an over-the-counter licensed private land only rifle bear season for unit 4, 5, 12, 13, 14, 23, 24, 33, 214, and 441 from October 1 through the end of the concurrent fourth rifle season.
Okay, yeah, that is the staff recommendation. Okay, so I think on this one, we'll do a roll call vote. Laura, would you mind?
Adams,
No.
Bailey,
Yes.
Lecca,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes,
Haskett,
Yes.
May,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Touchton,
No.
Vardy,
Yes.
Chair Hauser,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, not to tempt Murphy, but I think our final couple should be fairly straightforward. So I'll turn it back to Krista. No pressure, Krista.
Sorry, on mute still. Thank you, Madam Chair. We'll try to move through these